Hey folks, take a look at this.
I don't want to go across the street. I want to go across the street.
What was that?
Well, it's a little something I added to the show. It's called Unclear on the Concept.
So that's what you've been up to. How did you accomplish this?
Well, I use Google's VEO3 with Flow. That's Google's actually little AI video generation application. And this was one of about 20 takes. There were all kinds of different looking characters generated in those 20 takes. And I picked this one because it primes our audience for what our special guest will be talking about. Oh, you know what? We should probably get this going.
Welcome to The Professor is Live with Mark Salisbury, Professor of Computer Science at the University of St. Thomas. In each lively 25-minute episode, Mark and producer Rico Smart dive into topics shaping our world, featuring expert interviews and engaging live audience participation. Discover groundbreaking ideas for the future and timeless wisdom you can't afford to forget, all infused with humor and charm. Leave every episode feeling inspired, informed, and optimistic about what lies ahead. For more bragging about this show, go to theprofessorislive.com.
And we're back. We're really back this time. And I'm Mark Salisbury. Welcome to The Professor is Live. And that guy in the corner is our producer, Rico. And today we're going to be taking on the question, can we become more selfless? This question comes from an article last fall in the Minnesota Star Tribune entitled, "Would you risk your life for a stranger?" The article focused on people that scientists say have an extraordinary altruism. We call these people heroes. They literally risk their lives to save someone else. Many times they save strangers. Over the last 121 years, 113 people from Minnesota have received the Carnegie Hero Fund Medal. The article covered 6 people who had won the Carnegie Medal in recent years, and they all have remarkable stories. Their stories range from saving an elderly woman from a house fire to pulling a drowning man out of the Mississippi River. You know, Rico, I would like to think that I have a hero inside of me, but I'm kind of like that scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz. I don't like fire and I don't swim very well.
You and me both, brother.
So I wonder, Rico, if there's some small but meaningful ways we become more selfless, become hero material in our day-to-day lives. And to answer this question, I reached out to Foster Cole, psychologist, for some answers. Welcome, Foster, to The Professor is Live. And we're talking about altruism here today. And as you know, in our intro, we talked about something called extreme altruism. And that's the idea that, you can do heroic things. But I think you have a little different take on that than what we see in the headlines.
If we try to start out doing heroic things, most of us will never even start. It's just too overwhelming. So really, I prefer in my day-to-day life to focus more on everyday altruism, little things that we do for other people without expecting anything in return. Now, the irony is, though, by doing something and expecting nothing in return, we actually do gain a lot as well as give a lot.
Yeah, and the great basketball coach, John Wooden, that was at UCLA and had 10 national championships, he wrote little books about his success. And one of them was that, to be able to truly give something to someone else without expecting anything in return. And so where does that take that? Because I think we all want to be the hero. I keep thinking, if I drive by a burning building, it's like, there's my chance because I'm a hero and I'll just jump out. But I have the feeling that if I haven't been working on it very much, that I just might be one of the bystanders looking at that burning building and doing nothing. And so I think what you're talking about is somehow building us up so that we may never meet that moment, but we become a better person. Did I have that right?
Yep. In a lot of ways, it's take and through small, good, kind acts throughout our day-to-day life, it's weaving a fabric so we can, in the long run, add up to just a lot of good for ourselves and other people and our community.
Yeah. And so what are some examples of just these small things we can do to kind of improve ourselves?
Well, first of all, let me just say I really enjoy doing this in my day-to-day life. It's one of the high points of my week when I reach across and connect with people. So examples, when you sincerely feel it, let other people know what you notice and admire about them. It's really looking for the best in other people and letting them know that you see it in them. It works for cashiers at the grocery store, your family, your coworkers, and people who you really don't like.
No, that's the challenge. That's becoming a better person, right?
Yeah, I think so. Also, volunteering, even if it's on a one-time basis.
Yeah.
We've all been helped out by somebody else volunteering and helping us out at some point in our lives. Also, reach across and offer to help somebody with a task that they're finding overwhelming or difficult. I've got a task coming up in my garden this fall that I was finding kind of confusing and overwhelming about how I was really going to pull this off. And I asked a neighbor to come down, sit down, talk with me about it for a little bit. How would he go about it? What are any thoughts he had? And boy, I'll tell you what, that really did me a lot of good and strengthened my connection with a neighbor. And finally, act like a water filter instead of a live wire. Live wire is when you get some negativity coming your way, live wire just passes it on through, and it might just amplify over time. But if we get negativity and we act more like a water filter, then we are leaving the negative situation better than it found us. And so what does that involve? Staying calm, being tolerant, skipping the blame, either outwardly or even in our own mind towards other people. And this is something I think our divided country really needs quite a bit. So everyday altruism isn't always me towards somebody else or vice versa. It can be in service of our community and community health as well. A couple other personal examples in my day-to-day life, just in the last week, shared some bread that I baked and vegetables that I grew. I put a spider outside my house rather than just smushing it on site. And
now that actually takes us to kind of go against our at least for me, to go against my instincts. And I draw the line on spiders and moles. I will just take those moles out. But I have to admit, I'm pretty kind to the squirrels and rabbits at our place.
Well, before I retired as a psychologist, I treated people with phobias, and you'd get someone with a spider phobia. You had to kind of be able to do yourself what you were hoping they'd do for themselves in terms of overcoming a fear. So I started catching spiders with my hands and putting them outside. So that's where that little strange habit started. And then finally, in my day-to-day life, this is my favorite in the last week or so. In the park that I walk in, there is a man who appears like he really does not want to be spoken to and is very unfriendly. And for some months, I walked by him, didn't speak to him because he didn't make eye contact, didn't look like he wanted it, and I just left him be. Well, one morning, I saw him jogging in the morning, and then the night, I saw him out for a walk. So when I saw him out for the walk later, I reached across and I spoke to him. And right away, he lit up. He was very friendly. He readily engaged. We had a great conversation about how much he loves to move. And every time we see each other now, he's waving at me. We smile. We have a nice talk. And boy, I'll tell you what, my community's better off now, even in a small way, for having the connection with this man.
Yeah, and this does us good, doesn't it? Inside, I mean, one of the things we look at in this show is how are ways that from a personal development kind of standpoint, how can we improve ourselves? And so you, even though you talked to this guy and cheered him up, you get something in return, right?
Well, instead of wondering when I go for a walk, am I going to see that grouchy guy? I look for the best, and I say, oh, I wonder whether I'm going to see him
Yeah,
and see the
yeah.
best in him, and so enjoy it.
I was visiting with some of my old friends from the Boeing company when I worked there in Seattle just not too long ago. And we were out looking over the city. This guy took me for a drive in his new car, very cool car. And so, but we get out, we're going to get out of the parking lot, and we looked at the view, and then we're getting ready to leave. And some guy had left his car idling right in the way, right in the way to pull out of the parking lot. And there are all kinds of others parking spaces. And so, but he's got his right there on the exit, and we can't get out. And so finally, my friend beeps the horn. Nobody comes, beeps the horn. So he's starting to get out of his car and approach this car. And a guy comes running up from behind. He's obviously just outside of his car. And he says, "Oh, sorry," just like that. Right. And it was like I could see my friend just like getting larger, and it's like he just deflated. And it's amazing how a little something like that will just completely change the interaction with people. And then we go, "Oh, yeah, don't worry about that." He gets back in his car and we drive off. And we talked about that later. And I thought that little sorry really deflated that whole situation. Yeah.
Yeah, it's reaching across an otherwise tense or awkward kind of divide.
Yeah, yeah. And if we do it, so you're saying, if we put some discipline to this, that we actually try to do some of these things, these small, kind things on purpose, and over time, from your experience as a psychologist, doesn't that improve our attitude and how we interact with people? And we're not that grouchy guy anymore?
It really does. I think everyday acts of kindness like this are actually a kind of superpower. By doing these kind of things, you get more connected with other people in your community, and you can have more feelings of well-being, gratitude, patience, tolerance, generosity, self-esteem. That's a lot.
Yes.
And the truth is, this world has a lot of need. And when we do something to make it a better place, everything and everybody is better.
Yeah, and then getting back to, because this is all about me, Foster. This could help me become a better person if I were to focus on something and actually make it a discipline and look for them. And then I could maybe think about this a few weeks from now and go, I'm happier with me. In fact, I feel a little happier than I used to.
We find what we look for in life. Whenever I get a new hobby or whatever, all of a sudden I'm seeing it all around me. I learned how to prune some trees a few years ago, and all of a sudden I noticed every tree that needed pruning. And so really we find what we look for. And when you look for good in other people and situations, you tend to find it. So one of the things that can help you really with any new habit developing, but including with the habit of looking for the best in the world and responding to it, is set really specific and attainable and time-bound goals. Like, I'm going to tell a family member and a coworker what I appreciate about them this week. And tell somebody your goal of doing this. When you tell somebody you have a goal, I want to be a more positive person. I want to reach out and try to do more kind little things that I normally would overlook. You're more likely to follow through on it than if you just keep your hope to be a different person to yourself. And then finally, when you do these little acts of kindness, look at what it brings to you. Pay attention of what it brings to you. Did it help you feel better or more grateful or more generous? And one pitfall to look for, Mark, is all of us, me included, I notice, unfortunately, we tend to do nice things for other people in hope of being thanked.
Yeah.
and seeing the other person being grateful. But that is really not, it's nice when it happens, but it's really not the reason we're doing this. If we're doing things for that reason, we're looking at to just build ourselves and manipulate other people rather than really put anything good into the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, good words to live by, Foster, and I appreciate you being here. See, I have to say a few good things here to show some of the kindness that you showed our audience today by sharing what you've learned. So thanks a lot for being here, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thank you, Mark.
Well, that was inspiring. You know, Rico, I'm feeling more heroic already.
In the Minnesota Star Tribune article, one of the heroes used a baseball bat on a dog that was brutally attacking a neighbor. Do you think you could do that?
Well, maybe if it was a very small dog and I had a very big bat. And you dog lovers, don't send me any email over this, by the way. So let's back up a little bit and put into perspective what we've learned today. Becoming more altruistic isn't about flipping a switch, according to Foster Cole, our psychologist guest today. It's about changing the way you see others and gradually aligning your actions with your values. The more we practice altruism, the more natural it becomes, and the more likely you are to do something truly extraordinary when the moment calls for it. And Rico, we are asking our live participants to take a poll to see if they buy into what Foster just said about setting specific, attainable, time-bound goals like, this week, I'm going to tell a family member, a stranger, or a coworker what I appreciate about them. And I've just gone ahead and I'm going to make this available. So when we look at it, we can see, and I've shared it in the chat. And so you can see the link to the poll and you can go there. And your responses to this statement is you could say, yes, I'm convinced and I will try it. Or maybe I'll think about it. Or perhaps you might check the third option, no way, I'm just focused on myself. And we'll report back before the end of the show.
Wow, I'm really interested in what the responses will be.
Yeah, I am too. And usually, Rico, you ask me, do I have a quote for the day?
As I shall now, do you have a quote for today?
Actually, I do. So here's the quote. Let us try to teach generosity and altruism because we are born selfish.
Was that Fred Rogers?
No, it wasn't. It was Richard Dawkins in The Selfish Game. Well, Rico, let's take a look at the results of this poll. And I will switch over there to see what we have. And I'm going to click on show results. And we don't have a lot of activity here. So we just don't. So we're going to have to kind of get our audience used to doing this in the future. But in the meantime, this brings us to the end of another great episode. And so you can catch up on past shows at theprofessorislive.com or on our YouTube channel or Spotify, and all with the same name. So they both have video and podcast versions of the show. And don't forget, we've got the podcast version on just about every platform too.
Remember, folks, if you're watching live, to get the full experience that we are, I always like to think of that kind of as just making the sausage.
Absolutely. Okay, we'll see you next time on The Professor is Live.
The Professor is Live is hosted by Mark Salisbury, produced by Rico Smart. We go live on LinkedIn, then bring it straight to you as a podcast. Want the inside scoop on new episodes and the chance to bring The Professor is Live to your own event? Don't wait. Join The Professor is Live with Mark Salisbury Group on LinkedIn or head to theprofessorislive.com today. While you're there, check out our executive coaching for the era of AI program. It's based on Mark's book, Leadership in the Era of AI. It will empower you to lead with more brains, more courage, and more heart, so you can cut through complexity, embrace change with confidence, and inspire the people around you. This isn't just about leadership at work. It's about transforming your life in the era of AI. Until next time, stay curious, stay optimistic, and keep leading with purpose. The Professor is live. With Mark Salisbury, copyright 2025.